Well, it's a very warm welcome back to a second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at Goodison Park. It is goalless between Everton and Spurs. Spurs seeing more of the ball, but Everton getting the only shot on target away in that first half, although it wasn't a particularly difficult effort for Hugo Lloris to deal with. Strike from the edge of the area from Ben Godfrey. But there were a couple of other moments there where Everton perhaps looking a little bit more attack-minded than Spurs. Spurs getting their best chance towards the end of the half when a cross from Kane found Sergio Reguilón, but his effort was over the bar. Now a bouncing ball sent back to Jordan Pickford under a bit of pressure there from Kane. In the end, not the best clearance there from the Everton keeper, out for a Spurs throw. Down the left-hand side is myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz and Matt Guy taking you through the action. Matt, we mentioned that the first half seemed to go by quickly, but there weren't too many chances to speak of.
No, there weren't chances, but it was good into midfield play, wasn't it, between the two sides? I mean, two completely different systems and two tactical managers working against each other, and there were often spells of 2 to 5 minutes, weren't there, where both sides were going backwards and forwards, and there just wasn't that quality in the final third. Hopefully we can see that in the second half.
Well, here comes Spurs now with Kane finding Son at the edge of the area. He then tries to channel a ball out towards the right-hand side for Emerson Royal. Not the best header away from Michael Keane. That goes straight to Son, but this time it's picked off by Demarai Gray. He finds Richarlison, whose ball back is almost picked off by Sergio Reguilón. It's a bit chaotic in midfield now. Everton with a couple of chances to clear their lines. Eventually the ball does end up back with Spurs. Eric Dyer now to Pierre Højbjerg. Towards the right-hand side now for Emerson Royal. I'll remind you of the two teams in just a moment. We'll just see out this bit of Spurs attacking possession as Ollie Skip now square to Ben Davies. He then spots Reguilón on the left-hand side. Reguilón then fires the ball into the channel here for Ben Davies, who puts a cross in. Charged down by Anthony Gordon, out for a throw to Spurs. So for Everton, it's Jordan Pickford in goal. Back for Seamus Coleman, Ben Godfrey, Michael Keane and Luca Digne. The two holder midfielders are Fabian Delph and Alan. The three ahead of them are Andros Townsend, Anthony Gordon and Demarai Gray, with Richarlison as the front man. For Spurs, it's Hugo Lloris in goal. A back three of Christian Romero, Eric Dyer and Ben Davies. The four across the middle are Emerson Royal, Pierre Højbjerg, Ollie Skip and Sergio Reguilón, with Lucas Moura, Heung-min Son and Harry Kane as the attacking three. And it's Spurs now in possession inside their own half with Christian Romero. Square now to Pierre Højbjerg. There's a bit of pressing here from Gray and from Andros Townsend. Heavy touch there from Lucas Moura. Still gets the ball away though from Alan, but Alan collides with him. So it will be a free kick to Spurs. And I think from Antonio Conte's point of view, we saw him getting a little bit frustrated towards the end of the first half, with his side perhaps just not doing enough with the ball. And I would imagine that at half-time he was trying to give them a few more options to actually use that ball when they get forward.
Yeah, absolutely. He's cut a frustrated figure on the sidelines, hasn't he? And it's just not worked in the final third, whether it be a ball from the fullbacks into the likes of Son or Lucas Moura, on that occasion just being overhit. It's just a simple ball down the line, or whether they've just not found the open space inside the box. I'm sure he did have a strong word with the forward players to see how they could work things forward, but that sometimes comes from the nature of the midfield that you're playing. He is playing Skip and Højbjerg, not known for cutting out assists, are they? They're more of box-to-box midfielders. But we'll see how the second half goes on.
Yeah, well, there was a throw on to Spurs, and then Conte was really frustrated there with his perhaps lack of movement. Spurs do eventually get the ball away, back over towards the right-hand side. Romero now trying to play it into Son. Just too many Everton bodies in the way. Romero does well to at least stop any chance of an Everton counter-attack by putting the ball out for a throw. Just to remind you, two other games being played at 2 p.m. That kicked off at 2 p.m. today. It's still goalless between Arsenal and Watford, although Arsenal had a goal disallowed inside the first 10 minutes for offside. They also missed a penalty. And at Ellen Road it is 1-1 between Leeds United and Leicester City. Leeds taking the lead through Rafinha, and 90 seconds later Harvey Barnes equalising for Leicester City, as Tottenham now in possession at the edge of their own penalty area. Reguilón going back towards Ben Davies. He thought about playing it long, does play one down the left hand side now to Son. Skip now finds Harry Kane, but he's still inside his own half here, Harry Kane, and there's a bit of a collision there with Ben Godfrey, but Spurs play on. It's Emerson now finding Lucas Moura at the edge of the area. He goes down. Was he brought down? Well, he looked up towards the referee like he was expecting something, but Michael Keane, as far as Chris Kavanagh was concerned, didn't commit a foul.
Yeah, well, Harry Kane was certainly hit late, wasn't he, in the middle of the park first, but then that second one, it looked to me as though Lucas Moura got his foot there, and Michael Keane had almost like leant on him and knocked him to the ground. Whether the referee thought he's just booted it straight to the goalkeeper, that it can't be a foul, I'm not sure, but I thought that could have been pulled back.
I thought so. I thought that perhaps potentially Everton getting away with one there, but in the meantime they've got forward up the other end now with Damari Gray at the edge of the area. He skips away from Emerson, puts a cross in which drops to Anthony Gordon. He hits it first time, gets a little round of applause there from Richarlison for taking the shot on, because that ball was always too high for Richarlison.
Yeah, it was the right idea, wasn't it, from Gordon to cut across it like that. He had to try and keep it down, though, and he sliced it well into the crowd. As you say, it went over Richarlison, went over everybody, just trying to pick that top right-hand corner out, but not quite able to do so with the technique that he used.
And Spurs now restarting with the short goal kick and then a long ball down the left. It's not a good ball, though, from Ben Davies. He puts his hand up to apologise because there was no need to play that sort of risky high ball over towards Reguilon. It's the kind of a giveaway of possession that's really going to frustrate the new manager. And we're getting close-ups of Michael Keane again. So let's see now. I don't think he gets any of the ball there at all. We're getting a replay from a reverse angle, and he's quite lucky not to give away it was never a penalty, but it could have been a free kick at the edge of the area.
It certainly leans on him. It looked to me as if he clipped his ankle as well. So even if it was just a free kick, it's a free kick still in a very dangerous area, and it sets Spurs up the pitch, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So Everton now looking to get forward down the left here with Digne. He finds Damari Gray under pressure, but he threads the ball through. Richarlison chasing it. Good covering challenge there from Pierre Højbjerg. Ball back in midfield now for Spurs with Son. He finds there was a chance to try and get forward there to Lucas Moura. Good covering challenge, and the ball out for a throw down the right-hand side as Fabian Delph puts the challenge in. Throw on now to Spurs. 51 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary. Still goalless here at Goodison Park. And it's Emerson Royal with the throw now for Spurs into Harry Kane. He goes back towards Eric Dyer. A couple of options for him here. Dyer looks up, but just decides to play it square to Ben Davies. Spurs don't want to play too many risky balls. You saw Davies giving one away earlier. But again, just as in the first half, it's Spurs seeing more of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. They're playing it around in and around the halfway line and into their own half, aren't they? And I think Everton are more than happy to play that way, aren't they? Rafa Benitez sides are usually well organised, and they usually have them two banks of four, don't they? And he's more than happy to then counter off that. Yeah, well, Lucas Moura does really well there to keep possession alive for Spurs. And then he plays one down the left-hand side for Sergio Reguilon, whose cross always too close to Jordan Pickford. Makes a comfortable save, but then the throw out from Pickford is an awful one, really. It's Everton are lucky to get away with that. Townsend had 3 Spurs players on him, but he plays out towards the left, and then a long ball down the left-hand side for Damari Gray, who's well marshalled in the end by a combination of Romero and Royal. Højbjerg is back there as well to help out, and the Spurs eventually play out of danger. But no need for a long clearance. They did well there because it looked as though Gray might be in down the left-hand side. It's with Heung-min Son now over towards Emerson. Just being blocked off there by Damari Gray, so he goes back to Højbjerg. Just to look at the two benches again, I'll just remind you for Everton, it is Kenny, Rondon, Gmabin, Tossen, Brathwaite, Holgate, Iwobi, Davies, and goalkeeper Begovic. As far as Spurs are concerned, it's Doherty, Bergwijn, Ali, Sanchez, Winks, Tanganga, Lo Celso, and goalkeeper Golini. So both managers with plenty of options on their benches. Haven't seen any movement on the bench so far, as Richarlison now brings the ball forward for Everton. The pass to Damari Gray is just under hit. There's a bit of a fight there between Digne and Emerson for the ball. Digne's furious that it's not a throw to Everton, but it is just a Spurs throw, although almost immediately the visitors lose the ball, and it still hasn't quite bedded down in the second half as yet. No, it hasn't quite. Just sort of replay then of that Pickford throw out. He goes to launch it long, doesn't he? And just catches it on the end of his fingers and launches it into the ground and sold Townsend short. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's 8.5 minutes gone, and it just really hasn't set a theme in this second half, and it's continued from the first half, hasn't it? Just a lack of quality coming to the final third.
Yeah, you just feel as though if there is going to be a goal in this game, it's probably going to be pivotal, because it just doesn't look as though either side have got their attacking boots on today. They seem to be cancelling each other out in midfield, as Ollie Skip now finds Heung-min Son, who's off down the right-hand side. Son plays it short to Lucas Moura. Options for Lucas Moura, but plenty of Everton players back as well. He goes back to Højbjerg, and now it's Davis over on the left-hand side, finds Reguilon. Been blocked here by Anthony Gordon. Reguilon just cuts back towards Pierre Højbjerg. Reguilon again, now over towards Eric Dyer, who's joining this little bit of midfield possession. Still a long way from the Everton penalty area. Romero now over towards Royal down the right-hand side. into Ollie Skip. He plays it back to Højbjerg, and now he's got Kane ahead of him. Kane under pressure from Anthony Gordon. Ben Davies finds Reguilón, back to Kane in the middle of the park, just at the edge of the area. His cross into the box is swept away by Demarai Gray, out for a throw to Spurs down the right-hand side. Certainly Spurs seeing more of the ball here in this second half. Still unable to test Jordan Pickford really, though. Ball played back towards Eric Dyer, who looks up. He's got options, but Everton playing a high line here, not making it easy for Spurs to go diagonal. Now Son plays one along the ground towards Reguilón. He gets to the edge of the area. He's got Davies on the overlap, but he cuts inside and goes towards goal himself. It's a right-footed strike from Reguilón, which is headed away from goal by Ben Godfrey and out for a corner.
Yeah, you don't see him go with his right foot too often, do you? But he sold Anthony Gordon, didn't he, really well. He cut back inside really sharply and struck it towards the top right-hand corner. Good header from Godfrey. I feel as if it was drifting a fair bit inside of the top right-hand corner, so I feel as if Pickford probably would have got there, but a good strike nonetheless. Yeah,
Pickford straight up onto his feet there to try and just remonstrate with his players. I think he wanted a bit more work to try and close down Reguilón in the first place. There's a real huddle of players there just around about the penalty spot trying to jostle for position. It's going to be an out-swinging corner from Heung-min Son from the right-hand side. Aimed at the edge of the 6-yard box. It just gets away from Eric Dyer. Then it's sort of chested away by Andros Townsend. He chases that one down to stop it going out for another corner. He does well to stop Reguilón, and Townsend's away here, but that's also great covering play from Ben Davies, who cuts across and stops any chance of Everton going on a counter-attack.
Yeah, absolutely. Townsend just laboured on the ball for a moment, didn't he? And it was a poor piece of control from him to knock the ball in front of him and allow Davies to come across, and he put a foot in. Did Andros Townsend, slightly caught the Welsh international, but yeah, a corner that just got past Eric Dyer, first corner of the game for Spurs. It was in the end seen out of play, but it was a dangerous moment for Everton had Dyer got there.
Absolutely. Dyer gets there this time, though. He puts the ball out for a throw. Everton in possession now down the right-hand side. Seamus Coleman into Richarlison. He turns away from Ben Davies, leaves that ball for Coleman, who carries on his run through midfield. He goes over towards the left-hand side now for Digne, and Digne finds Demarai Gray, left-hand edge of the penalty area now, being stood up here by Lucas Moura and Emerson Royal. Plays the ball out towards Digne. His cross charged down by Emerson, out for a throw to Everton, although Emerson's still feeling as though perhaps the last touch came off Digne. He now throws it in towards Alan, back to Digne. He rolls it back towards Demarai Gray, who tries to cross in from deep, and I'll tell you what, it wasn't a bad ball at all. Just a little bit too high for Townsend, just a little bit too short for Richarlison. But had that been just a little bit more accurate, there was a good chance for a header towards goal.
Yeah, it was a great attempt from Gray, and it was just that succinct idea to just hit it straight away, wasn't it? We've not seen enough of that instinctive movement to hope that somebody's going to get on the end of it. And that cross from Gray, what it did was just said to the strikers, just go for it. Every time I get the ball, get yourself in the box.
Yeah, well, Alan's frustrated there for a foul he's given away on Emerson Royal. I'm not sure that it was Alan's foul. I think it may have actually been what Digne did, but you can see how furious the Everton number 6 is there, hugging the ball as if to say, I got the ball there, ref, and I actually think he might have a point there, but Spurs taking the free kick and going back towards goal with it. Arsenal have taken the lead at home to Watford, but I said that once already in this game, so we'll see. It's Smith Rowe now with the goal on 56 minutes. We'll wait to hear confirmation is as if whether or not he actually whether that goal's actually going to be given. As say, Arsenal had a goal disallowed in the first half and they missed a penalty as well. Still 1-1 between Leeds United and Leicester City, as Ben Davies' ball to Kane is just behind him though. And now it's a chance for Demarai Gray to bring this ball forward for Everton. He goes square to Seamus Coleman. Anthony Gordon's out wide on the right-hand side. Not too many options ahead of Gordon here, really. So he plays a ball to Coleman, which is misplaced. And then a collision there between Davies and Gordon. I thought Davies might have slid in and caught the Everton youngster. Referee's not interested, though, and it's Spurs bringing the ball forward here now with Heung-min Son. He's got two players out on the left, and it's a bad ball from Son to play that into Lucas Moura, though. Moura does get away from Michael Keane. He then finds Emerson Royal. His ball into the box, headed away by Ben Godfrey. The loose ball headed back into the box by Christian Romero. It's still kept alive here by Reguilón. He's got Coleman on his back. Goes back towards Davies. Davies now square to Christian Romero, who had a couple of options to play the ball towards the penalty area. Just goes square towards Emerson Royal. To Lucas Moura, back towards Eric Dyer now on the halfway line. Here is Ben Davies out towards Regulion. His cross is over everyone inside the 6-yard box, headed away in the end by Lucas Digne.
Yeah, all started that spell of momentum, didn't it? As soon as Sona played that poor ball, Lucas turned rapidly, didn't he, and sprinted past his man. That's what you can do if you get a little bit too tight, but not tight enough. He'll just spin past you. He's so agile, isn't he? And he just burst forward quickly for Spurs. Didn't quite come into a chance at the end, but it was still good movement anyway. First change of the game.
It is, yeah, absolutely. It's going to be Fabian Delph going off here for Everton. Getting a good round of applause from the Everton faithful as well, but he's off, and it's Tom Davies to replace him.
Yeah, so Delph on a yellow card as well, so that may have come into Rafa Benitez's thinking, but also some fresh legs in the middle of the park, and Tom Davies, another one of those youngsters, isn't he?
He is, absolutely, and he's been one who's sort of been close to sort of making a regular first-team place for himself, but always just perhaps lacking that little bit of consistency to stay in the team as Spurs go forward now with a strike from Ben Davies. It's just wide. He's got a fabulous left foot on him there, Ben Davies, and that effort wasn't too far away from goal. Just opened up in front of him, nobody closing him down. Townsend eventually gets there, and once he puts his laces through, he's actually swerving away from goal in the end.
Yeah, he slightly sliced it, whether that's slightly on purpose as well, it could have been, but the fans are certainly ducking out the way of it. Had some power behind it, didn't it? It wasn't too far away from the goal. It went just wide of the upright post that holds the netting up, which is slightly wider than the actual post, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a little bit wide of goal. I say a little bit of swerve on that, just taking it away from goal. But Anthony Gordon now picks the ball up for Everton, and he spots Damari Gray in loads of space down the left-hand side. It's a good ball to him. Poor control, though, from Damari Gray. Luca Digne slips as well, as he could have kept that ball alive for Everton. First touch now for Tom Davies. Back to Michael Keane. Digne now to Damari Gray. Such a shame that Gray couldn't have carried on his run there after that pass from Anthony Gordon. It really opened up for Gray there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a brilliant piece of play, wasn't it, from Gordon, just to switch it quickly and miss the defender and perfectly fire it into Gray. Just need a little bit of a trick to beat Emerson Royale, but he is an imposing defender in front of you. When you see him, he's so tall and long-limbed and quick and strong, isn't he?
He absolutely is, as we can see now. Just under half an hour to go, still 0-0 here between Everton and Spurs, and it is the home side now in possession with Ben Godfrey. Kane is slowly closing him down. In the end, Godfrey goes square to Coleman, who plays it back towards Jordan Pickford. Now it's with Michael Keane over to Luca Digne down the left-hand side. Gray under pressure here from Emerson Royale, having to turn and go back towards Alan. And then Alan spots the run of Gordon up ahead of him, and it gets flicked off, and there may still be a chance here for Richarlison. Was he brought down by Hugo Lloris? The referee says yes. And this is going to be a penalty to Everton. I'm sure that VAR will check to see whether or not Lloris has made the challenge, but as it stands, it's a spot kick to the home side. Yeah,
Richarlison got up quickly to continue playing, didn't he? Which tells me that he potentially got a bit of the ball there, Hugo Lloris. We'll just see a replay of it now. Does get a tiny, tiny little finger on it. Richarlison also controls it wide, but the fact that the Brazilian got up quickly to continue tells me that he thought it wasn't a penalty.
Well, it's one of those where just seeing. I mean, Richarlison does put his hands up there just after, but we'll see from this reverse angle. Does Lloris only get the ball and then a bit of the man? Well, we're still waiting to see whether this penalty is going to be taken. VAR is now checking. There may be a bailout here for Spurs in terms of an offside, although it looks to me as though Regulion potentially is playing. Well, I think it looked to me like Regulion is playing Richarlison on there.
Yeah, it was Gordon that went for the initial ball, and I thought they were calling for a foul, weren't they? But he just ran into Regulion and pulled him down, and it came off Regulion and then went towards. Maybe you could question whether Gordon has fouled Regulion, and
Possibly.
therefore it could be ruled out. But I think it's just really unusual for the referee to stop the game where it was, because he could have let the play go on, and Richarlison still may have scored. And I just think he had to potentially wait until there was a proper break in play. But Everton was still on the ball going forward, and that just brings up bits of confusion as to where he stops it.
It does a little bit. Yeah, I mean, the referee, there's no offside, so there's certainly not going to be an issue in terms of that cancelling out the penalty. But our referee, Chris Kavanagh, is going to have a look at the pitch side monitor himself. Just to see what he's making out from this one. We'll see the replay that he's seeing now. Well, from that replay, I think it's pretty concrete that Lloris doesn't get any of the ball there and only gets the man.
Yeah, well, he's looking at this penalty decision, isn't he, first? And then I assume he's going to look back at the free kick. But we'll see what he makes of this one, of course. Looking in slow motion, Regulon is saying he got the ball as he walks over. And
I don't think he does. I can't see Lloris's hand getting any contact with the ball there from that replay. And it's only that replay that Chris Kavanagh is looking at.
He's not looking at the foul beforehand.
No. Is he going to make the box to say it's no penalty? No penalty. That's interesting. I must admit that to me is quite a surprise, because I couldn't see from that particular replay. I couldn't understand how that isn't a penalty. And well, certainly Rafa Benitez is not happy.
I think. Forgetting the penalty decision and the tackle between Richarlison and Lloris, I think the fair decision would have been to give a foul against Anthony Gordon for pulling Reguilon down.
Potentially, yeah.
It's him that's knocked the ball past Lloris, otherwise Lloris is just going to come out and grab the ball. I just think this is a really unusual situation. Alan's leading the process, and he says, Kavanagh, does the referee, that he got a tiny, tiny touch on the end of his finger.
Yeah, well, that's what Chris Kavanagh is saying now. The Everton players are certainly not letting this one lie. And the referee is going to be hearing plenty of this from the home side, as even more Everton players. Well, I think the other complaint is, of course, that Everton was still on the attack when the referee stopped play. So now what happens here? Is it just going to be a drop ball and they give the ball back to the goalkeeper? Let's see from this replay. Where does I don't see any fingers from Lloris there. I mean, it's one of those where perhaps this angle might explain a bit more. Well, his fingers move towards the ball. Whether or not he actually grazes the ball or not, it's an interesting one. That I say, it certainly wasn't a black and white decision, and I think really you could probably find an argument for him giving and not giving the penalty.
Yeah, and I just think it's really unusual he stopped the play when he did and didn't allow Everton to continue, because now Spurs have just got the ball back.
Everton still have possession at the edge of the area, so they won't be too pleased. It's going to be a free kick now to. Ben Davies is now probably going to get a bit of stick here from the Everton players, because Everton are going to be very riled up now after that decision. Andros Townsend probably writhing around in more pain than he's in, I would suggest.
Yeah, we mentioned it really early on in the first half as well. When you get this Goodison Park crowd going, they are a really hostile crowd, aren't they? And this Ben Davies tackle, but not just that, Son boots the ball away. So no surprise the Everton players came over saying it should be a yellow card as well for Son.
Absolutely, and that's we've had 22 fouls in this game, 11 all so far, with 66 minutes gone now, still goalless. That penalty decision for Everton was reversed, and the goal for Arsenal wasn't disallowed this time, so the Gunners do lead against Watford by a goal, and it was Emile Smith-Rowe with the goal for Arsenal. It's still 1-1 between Leeds United and Leicester City, and West Ham against Liverpool still to come at 4:30 this afternoon. Throw on now to Everton down the right-hand side, and it's a good play there from Dyer, because Richarlison was ready to get past him there and put the ball into the box, but it's out for a corner. Yeah,
they're all on the feet, the Everton fans over on the far side of the stadium. Not too great with my Goodison Park geography, but maybe the Gladys Street end, I'm not too sure. But over on that far side, it's Townsend going to be taking the corner, and the fans are all riled up.
Yeah, they're all trying to give their bits of advice to Townsend on how we should whip this ball in. He lifts it all the way to the back post. It's just about kept in play there by Richarlison. He then tries to turn away. He's appealing for a handball. The handball not given. Davies now with the strike. Does it get a deflection there? Everton are asking the question about another penalty potentially. I'm not sure the referee is going to give a penalty now. Oh, goodness me. Now there's a bit of a collision. Richarlison has gone down. It's all getting a little bit heated now, and the referee just needs a moment here to try and get a bit of control. Yeah,
the players have lost their heads on both sides in a sense as well. It's not just one or the other. It's they've both riled each other up. It was Richarlison that's... has he been caught? He's been shouldered.
Well, he's saying there's a handball there from Højbjerg, which I'm not sure that there is, to be quite honest. And then play goes on for a few more seconds. Godfrey then goes back to Richarlison. Davies' strike then deflects out, I think, for a corner. But whilst we were waiting for that corner kick to be taken, Richarlison hits the deck and didn't actually see how it was that he fell over. But the referee has got his notebook out, so there are going to be some yellow cards, or at least a yellow card for somebody. And Chris Kavanagh needs a moment here just to try and get a bit of order. It's going to be a yellow card for Richarlison, just for his antics, I dare say. There's also going to be a booking for a Spurs player. Now we'll see what this is all about. It's oh, goodness me, it's the Eskimo kiss, isn't it? And then one of the players pretending that he's been headbutted. In fairness, Richarlison has served a 4-game ban before for doing a fake headbutt. So I suppose he was hoping he was trying to get his opponent into the same sort of trouble. We're going to see this corner kick now for Everton. And it's whipped in by Damari Gray, swept away immediately, though, by Lucas Moura. It's a poor corner from Gray. He's got all those big men in the box, and he plays the ball at shin height towards the near post.
Yeah, it's poor, isn't it? You've got to have better delivery on that cross there. It is the Gladys Street end. Just thought I'd double-check that one. Just
very
to make
good.
Sure I got
very
it
good,
right.
Matt. That's impressive. I can tell you that we have a third goal at Ellen Road. It's now Leeds United 1, Leicester City 2. And it's Ademola Lookman, former Everton man, of course, that gets that goal for Leicester City. And meantime, there's a bit of a collision in midfield, but Everton go forward. We're handing over to Matt in just a second as Townsend finds Gordon. Gordon into the box. Gray's there with the strike. Great challenge there from Romero, but the ball then drops to Davies, and it's a very tame effort. He was so worried about the bounce of the ball, he never really put his foot through that one, and it's a comfortable save in the end for Hugo Lloris. We're actually at the 70-minute mark now. It is Everton 0, Tottenham 0, and it will be Matt Guy to take us through to full time.
Cheers, Paul. It was a good ball from Gordon in towards Gray, wasn't it? He just couldn't quite get that clean connection, and as you say, Davies just scuffed his effort in the end, knocked it into the ground and bouncing into the hands of Hugo Lloris. But this second half has certainly livened up, hasn't it? And Son's in behind here. It looked offside to me, but play will continue for the moment. He's got a man square, shoots at goal, drags it well wide. Poor from Son. He should have seen the supporting man, but I do think he was offside anyway.
Well, we'll see if the flag goes up, and doesn't look like it has done, or has the linesman now gone back to where the original offside was? We'll see where this free kick, if it's a free kick or a goal kick for Everton. But that aside, as this ball is played, it's hard. The angle here, the replays we get at Goodison Park, it wasn't really in line with where it happened. But from that perspective, it's actually quite a long way wide from Son, and he should do a lot better there, really, whether he was offside or not.
He's got to square it to Reguilon for me, and that would have been Reguilon's last moment of the game as Doherty comes on to the field for him. He's obviously got a yellow card as well as Reguilon, so that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely. The only Spurs player with a booking. It's a double change for Spurs as well, as Lucas Moura goes off to be replaced by the Argentine Giovanni Lo Celso.
Yep, so two changes for Antonio Conte. We'll see which side that Doherty ends up playing on. Of course, he's more of a right wing-back role play. We did that at Wolves for a prolonged period. It looks to me as though he's just settled on the left, and Emerson Royal has stayed on that right-hand side. Lo Celso will probably stay on that right, go on that right as well, leaving Son on the left here as Gray tries to cut inside of Emerson Royal. It comes back in towards Luca Dean, now. So he plays it backwards into Keane. Everton, all of their outfield players inside the Spurs half for the moment. Out to the right, Gordon trying to turn one around the corner. Doherty wins his first tackle. It comes back to Davis. Dyer, nice controlled, short, calm ball in towards Ollie Skip, but it's a poor ball in towards Kane.
It is a poor ball. Goal disallowed at Ellen Road. There was an offside in the build-up to Lookman's goal, so it is still 1-1 between Leeds and Leicester City.
VAR getting involved everywhere, disallowing the Arsenal goal, of course, not giving the penalty in this game, and then disallowing the Leicester goal.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we all wanted video. Well, I say we all did. A lot of us wanted video replays. I was certainly in favour of them when they were being discussed, and then, of course, when we got this forensic VAR in the UK in our first year, in our first 2 seasons. Certainly, at one point, I think there wasn't a pundit or an ex-pro in the country that was in favour of it. But I think now, having seen it just used slightly milder at the Euros, we found that it is still helpful and it doesn't have to sort of pick out every little minute detail.
Yeah, it doesn't have to overall the game, does it? It just needs to be for those key moments and just take a pinch of salt and a bit of context and common sense into it, and you certainly can use it to the game's benefit as the ball comes back from Emerson Royal into Hugo Lloris. Plays a risky ball in towards Christian Romero as he plays another one in towards Lo Celso, who just about does enough to play it into midfield. There's now Højbjerg on the right hand side into Emerson Royal. Kane goes down the line, but he cuts inside. It's a poor ball given away to Townsend. Now with Richarlison, got men all around him in white Tottenham shirts, but does well to find Gray wide on the left hand side. Now inside to Davies, looking for options to go forward. It's still Everton on the front foot, pegging Antonio Conte's Tottenham behind in a defensive area for his first Premier League game in Tottenham management. It's curled into the box by Townsend, headed out to the edge of the box. It's now with Coleman, looks to strike it, maybe cuts to his right foot, beats one challenge, beats another, can't beat the third as Højbjerg brings the ball away. He's caught by Davis, but continued play as he holds on to the ball, plays a long one forward. Godfrey wins a header and stops that play going through, as then there's a push on Anthony Gordon from Doherty, and that one will be a free kick on halfway there. It was quite an obvious one there from Doherty, just put 2 hands on the back of Gordon. Yeah, well, he needs something to sort of kick-start his Spurs career, doesn't he? He left what seemed like a regular starting place with Wolves, a regular Republic of Ireland international, and now he's just become a squad player, bit past squad player really at Spurs, and he needs to break through that. Yeah, well, they've had a number of right backs over the recent years, haven't they? Spurs, the likes of Serge Aurier as well, and of course those players, a couple of them moving on, but they have brought in Emerson Royal to challenge Doherty. Foul given here on the right hand side against Ben Davies. He's waving around like he can't believe that decision. The referee just explained that there was just a little bit of a coming together there, and Davies
Well, I mean, he gets there split second after Townsend. He only wants to get the ball, but Townsend does nip in there ahead of him.
Yeah, looks as though he towed the Achilles almost of the heel there of Andros Townsend. Free kick for Everton in a good position on the right-hand side. Townsend is looking like the man who's going to be standing over this one. That left-footed option to float it into the box. We saw some free kicks in the first half that were very central. This is a bit of a better position, but Spurs once again sticking with that high line.
They are. They're making it that bit more difficult for Everton to get a ball into the box. Of course, if Everton do time their runs with this cross, it's suddenly leaving a lot of the ball box exposed, but they've taken it short.
Instead, it's come inside. It's then chipped towards the far post. It's nodded back inside to the penalty spot. Volley comes forward from Gordon, blocked by Skip, as Lo Celso chases over to the other side of the field to press on Luca Dean as it comes back in towards Tom Davies now, switching the play to the right-hand side. 15 minutes to go at Goodison Park. It's still Everton 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. As Alan into the feet of Dina. It's still Everton possession in this second half. They've been the dominant team on the ball as it's chipped in behind towards Richarlison, puts in a shoulder, miscontrols it, and in the end the ball runs through to Hugo Lloris. It's a great chance for the Brazilian. He's put in just a good piece of muscle there on Eric Dyer and held him off. He just couldn't control it in the end and let the ball run through to the Spurs skipper between the sticks, and Eric Dyer straight after that turned around and gave his central defensive partners some abuse there. But as we see another replay of this, he's definitely onside. Doherty's playing him well onside. It's poor from Doherty.
Doherty's, yeah, I mean, it's not just a step or two. It's a good 2 or 3 yards there behind the rest of his teammates. That really isn't good enough from Doherty there, and Spurs get away with that one.
Doherty just knocks the ball off Gordon now, and it goes out for a throw-in on the near side. Gordon tells him to go back 10 yards to where the ball actually went out of play before it bounced back into his hands off the advertising boards on the sidelines. And eventually throws it down the line in towards Lo Celso, who chests it under pressure, and the ball bounces and cannons off his chest and out for an Everton throw on the near side. Still we await that clear goal scoring opportunity that would have been the penalty had it been allowed to stand. But in the second half we've not really come too close to a goal, really. The best chance of the game probably still that Reguilon effort volley that bounced just in front of him from Kane right at the death of the first half as Spurs win the ball back and break quickly through the midfield. Lo Celso into the feet of Kane, wide right hand side, nutmegs the defender Dina, plays it down the line into Lo Celso. Offside flag goes up as the sliding challenge comes in from Luca Dean, and once again it's just a sloppy piece of attacking play from an attacking player on this field, catching themselves offside.
Yeah, and it's more frustrating when it's sloppy attacking play, when there's so little attacking play anyway. Lo Celso's got no need to be offside there. All he's got to do is just quickly glance to see where Godfrey and Keane were, and he would have been onside. But just a momentary lapse of concentration there, and the Spurs attack pretty much killed off before it even had a chance to start.
Absolutely frustrating for Antonio Conte, who continues to bellow out from the sidelines, shouting out his instructions after joining this week. His second game in charge, this one, after they beat Vitesse Arnhem 3-2 in the Europa League. 5 goals and 3 red cards in that game. An entertaining start to his life at Spurs as Kane plays a ball in behind towards Son. He's got to do better there. He's overhit it once again. It was a good-looking attack for Spurs for a moment, but a wasted chance after that poor touch, and then a poor touch as well from Demarai Gray, although that was a difficult one to take down wide on the left-hand side after the long ball forward.
Yeah, he was chasing that one, Demarai Gray said, but it was always difficult to catch that one on the run. Out for a Spurs throw. Kane, who's pretty much had to play as a midfielder most of this game, now finds Ollie Skipper. The space is just opening up now for Doherty.
Yeah, drives forward, plays the ball past Gordon towards Doherty on the left-hand side. Poor control from him, goes down, no foul. That's never going to be a penalty there as he's falling over as he takes the extra touch. It was poor from Doherty, really poor. He just touched it inside and then reached for the ball, and he never looked in control of it as he cut inside there against Gordon. And so Everton come forward with the ball at feet once again. Over to Dina over on the far side of the field. Tom Davies looking to provide himself as an option in midfield after coming on for Delph on the 61st minute. He's out to the right now for Everton, and Seamus Coleman into the feet of Gordon now with Townsend, clips it down the line, poor from him. Doherty intercepts, stands in there, plays it short towards Davies, who clears it down the line. No real effort from Harry Kane to try and beat Godfrey to that one, and it's simple for Everton to play out from the back in the end, and Allen sweeps one from right to left. Emerson Royale with that athletic jump once again. Reaches the ball in mid-air, heads it inside to Lo Celso, puts Skip under pressure, but Skip does well to hold on to things for the moment. Eventually it's turned back then by Højbjerg into Romero. Edge of his own box now is Eric Dyer, and more of this Spurs possession well inside their own half, as eventually Ben Davies tries to step towards the halfway line. Doherty doesn't look like he's confident going down the line on his left foot there. He cuts inside, gives it to Lo Celso. He's looking for movement, he's looking for options, but one of those biggest movers has already gone off the field in Lucas Moura for Giovanni Lo Celso. Emerson Royale can't get there first over on the far side as Digne steps in quickly and knocks that ball away down the left-hand side. 10 minutes to go in this game at Goodison Park. Unofficial off-tube studio commentary, and the game is lulling into a little bit of a moment.
Yeah, it's not poised anymore, was it?
No.
There was a period in the first half and in the second where it felt as though we were poised to see some sort of attacking breakthrough. Now Spurs on the attack with a good ball from Son. That was almost dipping under the crossbar, but Pickford had it under control in the end. You just get the feeling that it's going to either take a glaring error or a moment of quality to try and break through, because both teams have been cancelling each other out.
The intensity has certainly dipped. It's still Arsenal 1, Watford 0, as Leeds also level against Leicester after that second goal for Leicester was ruled out for offside. As Townsend and Everton come down the right now. Coleman looking to whip an early ball in. It's poor. Richarlison was calling for it to the far post. It came nearer towards the front post than the far. Coleman takes a quick free kick down in towards Coleman, and Coleman asks for some movement. Finds Davies inside now with Townsend holding off Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Square across the back from Godfrey in towards Keane. Can move forward with the ball here. Gives it left towards Gray. Overlapping run from Digne as Lo Celso covers across to help Emerson. Still, Spurs have yet to have a shot on target. Everton have had two. One of those, a dribbler though, a P-roller into the hands of Hugo Lloris as Digne fires one towards the near post. It's Gray! Gets a little bit of a nick on that one, but it just drifts wide.
Not enough of a nick on that one, though. Needed to put a little bit more of the instep on that, and he would have had a good chance of getting that on target. It makes pretty dire reading, though, for both teams, considering they've had 18 shots on goal between them, and only 2 of them have been on target. They're 2 efforts from Everton, so it really hasn't been good enough. But that's one of the closer efforts there for Everton. Lloris is beaten there for sure. If that's on target, he's getting nowhere near that, but Gray does drag it wide by a couple of yards in the end.
It's a really nice idea, isn't it, from Gray, just to touch it towards goal, as there's another change here coming for Everton, and Alan has gone off for Holgate. Alan has a frustrated figure on the field today, not least with the referee.
Yeah, he's felt as though he's perhaps not got every decision. This is an interesting one. Mason Holgate's been sort of mooted as a midfielder on a few occasions now. It looks like he's going to be in that defensive midfield role, even though sort of remember him more as being a right back or a centre back, really.
Yeah, absolutely, a versatile player. Rafa Benitez now wants to look at in midfield alongside Tom Davies. So 2 changes in the centre of the park for Everton in this one. Delph off for Davies and Allen off for Holgate. As the clouds enshroud the Goodison Park pitch, and the darkness comes down on the players. And the darkness of some of the players being there and apparent so far. It's been dull at times this game, but at other moments it's absolutely burst into electric life, going from one end to the other. But yet to see that quality in the final third in the 18-yard box to beat either goalkeeper. Neither one has really looked too troubled. The only time that Hugo Lloris looked a little bit sheepish was that penalty decision that was given against him, that was then overturned as Anthony Gordon turns the ball inside now to Godfrey, into Holgate, tries to turn quickly, has it nicked off him quickly by Højbjerg, dribbles away with the ball, looking for a run from Kane down the right hand side, tries to feed one through the legs of Luca Digne, but it blocks back towards Lo Celso, turns quickly, a sliding challenge comes in from Davies, and a strong one and a clean one, says referee Chris Kavanagh. It's now out to the left hand side, another counter-attack chance goes a-begging for Tottenham Hotspurs. Down the left is Gray's being doubled up by Emerson Royale and Christian Romero there. In the end, the ball goes out of play over on the far side. But how many times have we seen a Spurs man on the ball in the middle of the park on the counter-attack looking for a Harry Kane or a Son or a Lucas Moura, and the ball has hit the Everton man? Yeah,
it has been disappointing from Spurs that too many of their attacks haven't really had a chance to develop because of that poor distribution. And so it's going to be a third and final change here now for Antonio Conte as well.
Yep, looks close. So it's Heung-min Son who's the man to make way. So Moura's gone off, Reguilon's gone off, and now Son for Ndombele. So an electric attacking midfielder in Ndombele, a maverick as well.
Yeah, he was initially signed, I think, to be a sort of a holding central midfielder, but over time it's been found that he's better going forward. He's better as a midfielder who has that license to have a little bit more freedom, and he's certainly, Antonio Conte will be hoping that it's fresh legs in the middle of the park just to shore things up and potentially maybe start a counter-attack as well.
Yeah, he's not necessarily the quickest man in terms of a foot race, but he's got great technique and technical ability on the ball, and could just shift the Spurs play forward. And alongside him and Lo Celso now in behind Kane, it's more about trickery and skill, isn't it, as opposed to just brute pace and counter-attacking ability in Lucas Moura and Son, and that may help them in terms of the counter-attack to just produce that little bit more quality, but will also, I'm sure Conte will be hoping, just pull the whole team up the pitch and pen Everton back a bit, which they haven't done at all in the second half with 5 minutes to go.
No, they haven't. That has been a problem for them as this second half as well. And Everton have lost their last 2 home games against West Ham and Watford, so I suppose a draw against Spurs today would be a step up from that. Whereas Spurs, well, would they have taken a point before the game? I think they probably would have felt as though they could have always come here and tried to do something anyway.
Yeah, I think if where they want to get to with this Conte side, of course, Conte coming in, they would expect themselves to beat Everton. But given that it's his first Premier League game in charge, it's not the worst result. It's a platform to build upon, isn't it? As Ollie Skip wins a free kick in the middle of the park, and once again it results in Spurs playing the ball around the back as Davis goes short into Romero, now feeds it into the feet of Lo Celso. Quick 1-2 on the right hand side with Emerson Royal as Lo Celso looks to switch it now with Ndombele. First chance with a ball at boot for him as Doherty underlaps him as he looks to jink inside now, strikes towards the far post looking for Harry Kane with a cross, but it's blocked away by Seamus Coleman. 4 minutes to go. Unofficial off-tube studio commentary. Everton 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0, coming into the final moments of this game. Hopefully we can see the opening goal and potentially the only goal of the game that will win it for one of these sides. As then Ndombele holds off a couple of men, turns quickly against Coleman. Coleman goes down, and a foul is then given, and Ndombele just holds his neck.
Yeah, he might have just. It may well be that Coleman's just caught him but it definitely was a foul from Ndombele there, just pushing on Seamus Coleman, and it's a yellow card as well. But is that for Ndombele?
I think it might be.
I think it is. Yeah, I mean it's. As the referee just decided that Ndombele's basically just acting a little bit there. I mean, it seems like quite a harsh yellow card, really, to sort of lean on. It's the way he throws the ball away, having been injured. I think that's what annoyed the referee. Again, I think he was just doing that to stop Everton taking the free kick too quickly.
Yeah, an unusual yellow card to pick up just seconds after coming onto the field as the ball stays in play on the right-hand side as Richarlison flicks it over his own head. Dyer then puts in a header, as does Doherty down the line as Townsend tries to control it and Ndombele steps in as he tries to boot the ball away. Holgate wins it off him. Now with Townsend inside to Luca Digne. Looking to the left-hand side now with Damari Gray. He's one-on-one with Emerson Royal, but the ball is in behind, so he has to go back towards Luca Digne. Now with Holgate, tackled by Højbjerg, and he's won the ball there. Chance for Spurs on the counter-attack. Ollie Skip here. There are 4 defenders back for Everton, but can they create something here? As Lo Celso looks to the left-hand side, maybe sets himself to shoot, shoots from distance. It hits the post, and then Godfrey sweeps that one away. It was a deep shot. I wonder if Jordan Pickford got a nick on that one to steer it onto the upright, but a great effort from the Argentine.
It is a great effort from the Argentine. He's not had too much of the ball since he's come on, but Pickford now really getting into his players to stay focused in these last few minutes. It's a good run from Ollie Skip. It's a great run from Ollie Skip. Finds Lo Celso, puts it onto his left foot. It's a really good effort. Pickford is beaten and it hits the post.
Yeah, it doesn't hit Pickford. Pickford's not got a fingertip on that one. And Lo Celso curling it around Michael Keane. Couldn't quite get enough curl. It's the closest we've seen to a goal all game, and it's come after 88 minutes.
He has, yeah, and it's Spurs finally. Still not a shot on target, but no. At least it's a much closer effort there from Lo Celso this time.
Yeah, about 90 seconds or so of regulation time plus added time. See if anybody can steer themselves ahead. It came from a counter-attack after Højbjerg nicked the ball off Holgate, who's been caught a couple of times actually after coming on. As Ndombele now with a chance on the left-hand side. He has been doubled up here by a couple of defenders as Gordon puts in a tackle. In goes Spurs' way. Doherty looking to take it quickly, but in the end just holds onto the ball for the moment, looking for Ndombele, Skip or Kane to make a movement so he could throw it in. He does so in towards Kane. Now with Doherty, back to Kane once again, opens up his body to look inside, finds Højbjerg. Højbjerg opens up his body as well, but nobody really moving on his right-hand side, and a poor ball is just about kept in play by Skip. Fires it forward into Kane, turned around the corner into Doherty, cuts back on Townsend, looking for a cross here. Deep one to the far post, coming in is Royale, but in there is Dina, just about flicks that one away as Damari Gray then loses the ball to Romero, slices it inside, but it comes inside instead to Royale once again as his ball is pouring towards the cell. Oh, that's a dangerous tackle. That's Mason Holgate. That's got to be a red.
That could be a red. That could be a red here. Mason Holgate. Oh, I think he's quite lucky. That it's only a yellow. He's overplayed that. Studs up around calf height there from Holgate. We'll see from this replay here.
No, that's red.
That is red. That should be a red. And I'm surprised if considering how much time they spent looking at the penalty, this is a red card from Mason Holgate, and I would be very surprised if it's not reviewed really, and it doesn't look like it is being reviewed. So it's going to be a free kick to Spurs, but Højbjerg is still down, and I'm quite surprised. I'm shocked actually that it's not a red card.
It's a horror tackle. It looked at it at first showing, didn't it? He's jumped into it and he's followed through. Thankfully for Højbjerg, he's turned his back and he's caught him on the hamstring there. But it is hamstring still. I know his legs are bent, but it's still high up.
I think that's a red card. I can see that the intent isn't there from Holgate, but it's careless. We see players get sent off, and I'm not surprised that Chris Kavanagh is being asked very quickly by VAR, look at this and get him sent off. I mean, the Everton fans, of course, are going to be telling him that it shouldn't even be a thing. But that still we just saw there. I mean, this is going to be the quickest decision that I think Chris Kavanagh's ever had to make, looking at the monitor. And if he looks at that and says it's not a red card, then I think both of us are going to be really surprised.
Yeah, they're showing it at almost 75% speed, aren't they, on our screen? And it looks worse when it goes quicker. It's so high up from Holgate. He's had a shocking few minutes since he came onto the pitch. He's lost the ball so many times. It's got to be a straight red. There's been a red card for Watford, incidentally, at Arsenal. And it looks as though this is going to be overturned here. And it's going to be a red card, and rightly so, for Mason Holgate.
Yeah, I don't think that Mason Holgate has got any reason to be surprised by this. I mean, it's obviously going to infuriate the home fans who already feel as though they should have had a penalty earlier in this game. But that replay, I almost feel as though the VAR officials could have saved 30 seconds of our time and just said, Chris, trust us on this one. Just show him a red and you'll be fine, because it was a clear-cut red card.
Absolutely, a horrible, horrible tackle for Mason Holgate, who has had all of, 8 minutes on the field.
Not been a particularly auspicious performance from him today.
He won't be playing in midfield much longer, will he?
No. Well, I mean, it's as I say, it was one of those where the ball was just getting away from. I still don't think there was any intent from him to injure the man, but the way he did that, there was no way the referee could let that one slide.
No, he may be dropping back into a defensive position once he's seen out his suspension. Free kick opportunity here. He's got blood on the back of his knee there, Højbjerg, after that tackle. And no surprise, really, as Lo Celso is the man over this free kick. It's quite far out for a shot. It has to be an absolute postage stamp shot, doesn't it, to beat Pickford from this angle?
It does, but then crossing it into the box, of course, Everton can see everything that's going to be happening, because it is from quite a long way out. It says there's going to be a substitution in now to try and shore up that defence following the red card. Damari Gray is going to get the hook for the last few minutes, but he's going to be replaced by Gmabin, who is pretty much a midfielder, so it's pretty much a like for like. I thought they might have been trying to plug that defensive midfield gap, but it's just a swap of a quick player for the final few minutes.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe they want to put a tall player on for this set-piece routine here, as Gmabin's not really a small player, but he's not necessarily a defensive central defender that could have been brought on with a bit more height, but he will go in that line here for this defensive situation, and he needs to be right on it, doesn't he? Needs to be switched on here to the man in behind him, which is Romero's. Lo Celso flicks it in. It's then in towards, I think it is Gmabin actually, that gets the head on the ball.
There you go. He's not the tallest player, not the first player you think of for winning a header, but he wins that header straight away, although it is still going to be a chance if it Spurs with this corner.
Absolutely. Last minute of injury time, however, I would have thought there might be an extra minute or so, given the fact that the VAR decision took quite a while, as the ball is being blown off its spot here for the corner, as Lo Celso looks to try and take it close, but we'll go back and take a proper corner now. Left-footed out-swinging ball to come, whips it along the floor as Tom Davies just easily sweeps that one away. He was looking for Ben Davies coming in at the front post, as then in there is Ollie Skip late on Townsend. Richarlison flicks the ball away. It's going to be a foul, as Townsend is hurt, but it's just going to be a yellow card for Skip, because that one, he tried to get out the way, but he never could. Yeah,
he never could, and as I say, there's a couple of Everton players perhaps asking the question, but there's never going to be any more than a yellow card there. And perhaps that extra roll there from Townsend just for effect. But it's not even that hard a collision. It's just the way that Townsend loses his balance.
Yeah, and there was an extra roll as well. Just looking back at it, he looked as though he was set on the floor and then thought, let's go over again.
Mind you, Skip's picked up his 5th yellow card of the season. It's pretty much a yellow card every other game for him. He needs to try and work on that. As Everton are now taking this free kick, it's going to be Jordan Pickford, but Spurs have played a very high offside line.
Absolutely, they're really high up the field. A good 30-35 yards out from the back of their net. As now it's Richarlison looking to hold off Emerson Royale down the left-hand side, and he's done well over there. It's two very strong athletes against each other. Digne inside towards Tom Davies. Of course, Everton a man down now as Davies looks to go down the line as Emerson Royale slides in. It's come off Emerson Royale last, and a good chance here for Everton with a man down to try and score from the corner.
Yeah, corner kick now for Everton, as we pretty much had a full 5 minutes of injury time here at Goodison Park. All the games kicking off at 2 p.m. have got a large amount of injury time. It's still being the play still going on at the Emirates and at Ellen Road. But here's the corner kick now for Everton.
Still 1-0 to Arsenal against Watford. Still 1-1 between Leeds and Leicester. Chance here. Final few moments of the game. Everton out swinging left-footed corner to come from Luca Digne. Whips it towards the 6-yard box. There's a header in there from Romero. Good flick on that one, and finding the ball first is Lo Celso. Doherty knocks that ball down the line. Just goes straight out of play. And Gababin will look to take the throw in quickly here. Well, there's not really an option short here. So eventually allows the ball to bounce back towards Seamus Coleman. He will come forward to take this, and he launches it down the line in towards Richarlison, headed into the air by Doherty, then forward by Townsend. Richarlison trying to battle through a couple of Spurs men. Richarlison trying to turn quickly, gets taken down in the end, but no foul as Townsend still on the ball. Then Doherty puts in a foot, and that ball goes out to play for a corner goal kick.
Goal kick it is in the end. Townsend couldn't quite believe it. He even looked back at the steward there thinking, what are you giving the ball back to their goalkeeper for? But it definitely was a goal kick. And the Spurs play out from the back. We're still playing on for the time being.
Yeah, I think he was also thinking, why give it to them quick when they could go forward and score now or win? Just hold on to the ball. Don't let them have it. As Doherty now on the left-hand side. Inside he comes to Skip. Now with Højbjerg. Round the corner he goes into Dyer. As Romero down the right-hand side. He's got an option in Emerson Royale as Lo Celso is inside of him. Romero continues his run. He knocks it back in towards Højbjerg, though, does Emerson Royale. It's in towards Davies. Step forward, 96.25 minutes played as Doherty on the left-hand side looking for a deep right-footed cross towards the far side. Emerson Royale jumping underneath that one. Nods it towards the penalty spot. Bouncing in there. It's Tom Davies, puts in his shoulder, and the foul goes his way.
Yeah, absolutely. There might have been a question mark over whether there was a handball, but Davies is down. I'm not even sure there's going to be enough time for him to get treatment. It looks like the referee's going to call time there and then.
It looks as though he is. I'd like to see another replay of that one, see who got there first between Lo Celso and Davies, but that is that, says Chris Kavanagh. A hard-fought 90 minutes between the two sides. A penalty overturned, a red card, but no goals between either side. After 90 minutes, Antonio Conte's first game back in the Premier League with Tottenham has ended Everton 0, Tottenham 0.